Hey guys, it's me, Tyler MV.
I'm Sterling Gilham.
You're supposed to say Sterling G, man. It rhymes.
Sorry.
We talked about
Whatever.
this. Hey guys, it's me, Tyler MV.
I'm Sterling G.
And welcome to the Game Savvy channel. So today on the channel, we're going to be talking about Nintendo Direct, Super Smash Bros., Crash Bandicoot, as well as The Division 2, Call of Duty Black Ops, and EGLX.
Yeah.
So this week, Nintendo Direct happened, and they had a lot of great announcements. Sterling here watched it live.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Not what I expected.
Oh, no?
No, I don't know.
You were, disappointed? Or?
No, not at all. Just, I put my own, prediction on Twitter, and I was completely wrong.
What was your prediction?
I thought we'd see, some Animal Crossing or some Fire Emblem. Maybe even Pokemon. I thought that...
I was disappointed that there was no Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it's an E3. Or, Pokemon Company usually does their own thing, so maybe not even E3. They might just have their own kind of direct
That's true.
thing.
That's true. One thing they did announce, though, was a brand new Super Smash Bros. Game. In this, really epic kind of, announcement trailer, they started off with Splatoon's Inklings, and they were battling each other, and I was kind of like, oh, there's, a new Splatoon game coming out. That's fun. And then all of a sudden, it just went black, and you're kind of like, all right, what's happening? And then she turns around, you see the fire, and you're like, what's happening? And the Super Smash Bros. Logo, and, that was awesome.
I watched the direct on my bus ride to EGLX, and even, I said out loud when they said, we have something else to show you. And then there was more Splatoon. I was like, oh. I was like, I don't want to see more Splatoon. We had 5 minutes of that. And then, as soon as, the Inkling started to turn around, I was like, it's Smash Bros. It's gotta be.
That's awesome, yeah. And the way they did it was, Splatoon is the red herring.
Yeah.
And then, the build up to Super Smash Bros. Was, brilliant.
Yeah.
You excited for a new Super Smash Bros. Game?
Yeah, I feel like the Smash Bros. 4 kind of got gypped on the Wii U due to, Wii U not having as great of sales, and
I personally haven't bought a Smash Bros. Game in years because I didn't invest in the Wii U or the Wii U.
Really?
So I'm really excited to have a Smash Bros. Game on that kind of core console that's in my home now.
Yeah. And
especially because with the Nintendo Switch you get that portability. Yeah. And so what you can do is you can bring your Switch over to all your friends' house, connect that way, and then play against them.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Do you have any character predictions?
Character predictions. What would I love to see in a new Smash Bros. Game? You know what? Somebody on Twitter the other day said Goku. They'd have to put Goku in Super Smash Bros.
Funimation tweeted at Nintendo of America and put the Goku a new challengers approaching thing.
That would be brilliant. I would love to see Goku. I've been really into Dragon Ball Super lately.
Yeah.
And, oh man, having Goku in that game, or even Vegeta or whatever other characters.
Mm-hmm.
I know we just got the Dragon Balls game and it's fighting, but just cool to see Goku. In fact, I put out a tweet today that said I would totally watch an anime that was the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super, which is this huge universal tournament, if nobody's watching that show. If it was Super Smash Bros. Characters.
Yeah.
Which would be absolutely amazing.
I'd watch an anime if it was... You didn't play Smash Bros. Brawl, but the story was the Subspace Emissary. I loved it. I'd watch an anime of that. I wanted that in Smash 4 and they didn't bring it back, so hopefully they can do it with 5.
So, do you think that this is a brand new game, or do you think it's a port from the Wii U?
I think it's a brand new game.
You think so?
The creator, the original creator's working on it,
mm-hmm.
and usually, I don't know, I feel like Nintendo doesn't really... It's not that they don't do things like ports, or obviously with the Switch, there's tons of ports, but I feel like they'll surprise us. It's a new game, I believe.
I feel like they put a lot of emphasis behind it, especially the build-up from having those Splatoon characters, those Inklings, and then going over to it's new Smash Brothers. It'd be weird if that was that big build-up just for a port, So I have a feeling that it's going to be a brand new game.
I have one thing to say about it, and Nintendo, if you're watching...
You better listen to this guy.
I'm not a big fan of clone characters. I get it, and it lets them add more characters without putting in as much work.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start getting to Fire Emblem level of clone characters, where there's literally three of the same characters, they have a bit different moves, but they're the same thing. I hate it.
I'm kind of the same way. I would like more originality. The thing about Super Smash Bros. That I really like as a fighting game, because I'm not too into fighting games, but it has very shallow combat that you can be very creative with.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have the time to learn all the moves in Dragon Ball FighterZ or a Mortal Kombat or something. But with Super Smash Bros., it's kind of what you see is what you get.
It's easy to play. A bit more difficult to like master, obviously, but I feel like it's a great like entry level fighting game.
Yeah, and something that anybody in the room can just jump in and try out. Like,
Yeah.
even if you're just mashing A, you can still do some damage. So
Especially if you're a fan like of lots of game characters, like you can find someone you like, right?
yeah,
Even if
absolutely.
just with not having other characters other than Nintendo characters.
Yeah. So that was the biggest announcement to come out of Nintendo Direct, but also something very interesting is that Crash Bandicoot is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Lost my voice.
We're getting 2 Dark Souls games on the Nintendo Switch. That game
crazy,
is hard, man.
So with Crash Bandicoot coming to the Nintendo Switch and also to Xbox and PC, but it was Nintendo's big day, so we're going to talk about that. What I find kind of interesting is that, first of all, it's great that it's coming to Nintendo Switch because my fiance is a huge fan. I only have Xbox and Nintendo right now. Sorry, PlayStation fans. So it's great to have that like exclusive come, and she's a huge fan, so she'll get to play it. But the one thing that I found really interesting was that exclusives are like gold to these consoles, and to have that like big exclusive come to these like competitive platforms, it makes me wonder: is like the console wars kind of like dying?
I don't think so. Not in a way. I do think I think Xbox and PlayStation are going to have fewer exclusives.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nintendo holds on to their IPs with a death grip, but I don't think it's the end. I just think it's a shift.
So I've always thought of the console wars as the consoles kind of build up their castles, and then they get the gamers to fight the wars for them. And so with all these walls built up, it's kind of hard to have like that dialogue. But with this exclusive coming to like Nintendo and an Xbox and a PC, and then we've also heard that Xbox is going to be doing or they're pushing for crossplay on Fortnite between PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
It's kind of like these consoles or these companies are like breaking down those walls. And I find with less barriers, it'd probably be less arguing.
I'm for exclusives. In my opinion, I like it because it gives it like obviously PlayStation, Xbox are very different in just like hardware and things like menus and how you play. But exclusives are what sell the system. Like I got my PS4 after they released the Final Fantasy VII remake trailer, and it's only for PS4. I was like, well, I'm gonna buy that.
It's interesting though. It's kind of like, so like, why do you go Xbox? Why do you go play? Like, I chose Xbox because I thought about it. I'm like, I can't live in a world where a Halo comes out and I can't buy it. Because like Halo's one of my favorite franchises.
And like maybe somebody thought that about Crash Bandicoot, and now it's kind of different. Maybe to them their PS4 kind of feels less valuable in a way.
Yeah,
but
that could be. Yeah, I just think it's like the first step in the right direction to kind of like having an even playing field with everybody, which would be beneficial for gamers, anyways.
I'd like to talk about Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS.
Right. Yeah.
It does not make sense to me. It really doesn't. I don't see why they're putting it on the 3DS. In my mind, the 3DS is kind of a dying handheld. In a way, it's not like dead. It's just, you can tell Nintendo is not putting as much behind it as before.
Yeah.
And what has it been out for like 7 years or something? Like, it's crazy.
And I was like, when I was doing the article for the website, like all the big Nintendo Direct stuff, I was so excited to see Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
First, I thought it was a new game, and I was like, oh, it's just the old game. And then I realized it was a port. And I was like, oh, that's not too bad. And then I realized it was only for 3DS. And I was like, okay, so I guess I'm just not going to play this game then.
The game looks better, obviously, which is the point. But like, I feel like it could look so much better on the Switch.
Yeah, and it's such a great game, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's that like haunted feel, but it's still like kind of childish as well. It's
when I think of it, it's like, ooh, that game is spoopy. And then like, I play it and it's like, just Mario game. Like, I play that game once a year, usually around Halloween, just for like fun. And like, I don't know if I'm going to get it if it's on the 3DS, but maybe it brings hope for a new Luigi's Mansion, so who knows.
One can hope. Have you ever played Okami?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I've seen some gameplay. I get what it's about, and like I love the art style. It's different.
It's very innovative, and it got like critical reviews. Critics like adored it.
Yeah.
And I've never played it. Always wanted to dive into it. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch, so you can check that out as well.
That's what I love about the Switch is that like a lot of games that are coming to it, I've never played before. Now I have a chance. Like Undertale, they announced Undertale.
Oh, that's
like,
right,
I've never played it. Now I can. And same with Okami and even some games I'd rebuy for the Switch. I rebought Stardew Valley.
Yeah,
I played the hell out of that. Like,
if you guys haven't played Stardew Valley, absolutely go check it out. Fantastic game.
My girlfriend played it for 13 hours straight one day. Like, that's how good of a game it is.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a lot into that game, and it's funny. I've seen like celebrities even talking about it too. Like Chrissy Teigen was talking about it. She tried it for a little bit and was like, "This is too tedious for me," and stopped playing it. But it's kind of funny how like it's getting that like recognition from like one guy who worked on it. So
speaking of like Nintendo and stuff, is that I wonder how Harvest Moon is going to do now that something like Stardew Valley's output.
You think they would see like the success that Stardew Valley's getting and be like, "Let's just make a Harvest Moon."
Yeah. But you know, that's a conversation for a different day, maybe.
One thing that this Nintendo Direct event really did, though, was that, you know, before the event, I looked at my console, and all I really have right now is Breath of the Wild on it. I haven't got Super Mario Odyssey yet. Really hoping to get that soon.
What are you doing?
But like one thing that before the event, I looked at my Nintendo Switch a certain way, and then after the event, I looked at my Nintendo Switch and I was excited for it. And I think that's one thing that Nintendo has going for them after an event like this.
Oh yeah. You know, the Switch had a good first year with games with Mario and Breath of the Wild, and you know, a lot of people are looking at this year and they're like, "What is the big game this year?" Obviously, now they know it's Smash Bros.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I don't know where I was going. You know, Nintendo, good.
Nintendo, you rock.
Yeah. Again, one more thing I'd like to say. Octopath Traveler. Whoa, give me that game!
I've never played it. Tell me.
I'll go home and download the demo. It's so good. It's like, so
Octopath Traveler is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Is
yeah,
it a port?
it's an exclusive. It's made by Square Enix, and it's a ultra 2D game. So it's like a pixel art 2D game, but like has 3D elements in it that are so beautiful. And you play as 8 different characters that have like different skills. Like one character can he can fight like any NPC. One character can get NPCs to like follow her. Another character can like find out anything about any of the characters in like great depth and like find secret items that they might talk about or stuff like that. Like it's so cool. Obviously, it's an RPG too. Like there's fighting and battling and jobs and stuff. But
you know what's one thing we didn't talk about?
What?
Part of that Smash Bros segment was the hype video that came out. That's one thing I wanted to touch on. For Super Smash Brothers, if you haven't seen it, there is this like hype video that came out. It was the announcement at a Nintendo store in New York. And they showed the trailer, and you could hear like the people in the background.
Are you talking about that? Okay, I was talking about a different one.
A different one?
Yeah, okay. I love that one. I think that's cool. Like, because when you're with a bunch of people, like, it's a proven fact that you act differently in like a social setting. And, and you know, funny things are more funny, or sad things are more sad. But like that hype, I would love to be there. It'd be so fun. I was talking about the video of the one guy just like by himself sitting in his room, and like, as soon as it shows Smash Bros, he loses it and like tears down his like bookcase and like starts losing it. Like I don't like that. I think it's that kind of fake in a way. Like people just kind of do it for views.
He filmed himself do it?
Yeah. He was just like watching it on his laptop, and then like as soon as it showed the Smash logo, he like got up and he's like, It's like amazing. He was like going Super Saiyan or.
That's whatever. Fantastic. Yeah, the one I was talking about, again, there was this Nintendo store in New York, and they showed, like, the trailer, and people were, like, getting hyped up for it, and then it went dark, and everybody was like, oh, like, what's happening? And they see, like, the Smash Bros. Logo and the reflection of her eye, and the whole store just goes, like, crazy and nuts. And I love that, because, like, gamers are so, like, passionate. And, like, these game developers, I put out a tweet the other day talking about it, these game developers aren't just making a new toy for us to play with. They're literally like giving us a gateway to an entire world that they've created. Yeah. And like back to characters that we've fallen in love with over the years and stuff. So I just love seeing the passion of that. That was awesome.
Smash has lasted throughout the years, you know? People carry GameCube controllers with them everywhere so that they can play Melee anytime that they want. Like, that's crazy.
That is pretty great.
When I went to EGLX, I watched a Melee tournament going on, and, like, people just love that game.
That's awesome. We will get into EGLX a little bit later, but Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was just announced.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Same day as the Direct, and same day as the Division 2. Which makes...
is funny because like I was like, hey, is there any like big news coming out? And you're like, nothing really to talk about. And all in one day it was like, like everything. So like, tell me about, because I'm not a Call of Duty fan. So like, catch me up. What's been happening in the Call of Duty universe?
So people were getting kind of iffy about Call of Duty because of the whole like futuristic setting, like the whole like jetpacks and like wall running and all these crazy shit. And then Call of Duty World War II came out, and people were excited again. Like, it was a return to literally classic Call of Duty and things like World at War.
That's
like,
awesome. That got like really good reviews too.
Yeah, I picked it up and I played it for a while, but yeah, you know, Call of Duty is a yearly release. I think my opinion is that kind of hinders some game franchises. Like, yeah, like obviously Call of Duty's been like the best selling game every year for like 10 years.
Yeah,
and people love it, but just imagine like how much more hype people would get if like Call of Duty came out every 2 years, every 3 years. Like, that's why things like Smash Bros are so crazy, because you don't get a Smash Bros game every year. Like,
no.
If you did, it'd be boring, right?
And the same thing happened with Assassin's Creed. People were getting tired of it. The development was kind of like lacking in certain areas. They waited a year, came out with Assassin's Creed. What was it called? Origins?
Yeah.
And like got crazy good reviews, and it was a totally fun game, brand new world, no development problems that I've heard of anyways. So I think that maybe Call of Duty can have that like Assassin's Creed treatment and it kind of build up its like reputation once again.
There is such a thing as oversaturation of the market, and
yeah, I think so.
Obviously, like, Call of Duty makes so much money that they probably won't stop, but you know, like Assassin's Creed, like, you got to take a risk sometimes and see what happens.
Yeah.
And but you know, it works for some companies like Call of Duty, and something like there's like 6 superhero movies every damn year.
Yeah,
like,
we're definitely in the era of superheroes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So like, as a Call of Duty fan, would you call yourself a Call of Duty fan?
I used to be. I played the shit out of World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and just the Treyarch games, it seems. I did play a lot of Modern Warfare 2 as well, okay. But I used to be. Call of Duty has problems. It really does. It's still a great game. It's still hella fun. It's super competitive. But, you know, things like loot boxes, shorter development time. Like, this year in Call of Duty when, like, the number of maps that you get to play on multiplayer was the lowest it's ever been in the franchise. Just stuff like that, microtransactions.
Yeah, they've hit like a lot of like bumps in the road almost, it seems like. They've kind of like... So like, as a Call of Duty fan then, kind of, when you hear Black Ops 4 gets announced, like, what gets you excited about it?
For me, zombies. I love zombies.
Everyone sees the zombies, eh?
I love zombies. It's one of those things in video games I can say, like, I'm good at that. Like, like, I usually, like, if someone said, "Are you good at Smash Bros?" I'd be like, "Nah, kinda." But like, I'm good at zombies. I know. Good at
zombies.
But
put that on the resume.
Again, I like the campaign as well. The Black Ops has always been good. It has like a kind of ongoing narrative. But again, I hope it's the game's not set in the future. Like, I kind of hope they bring it back to, you know, World War 1, 2, the Cold War, like they did in the original Black Ops.
The problem with Call of Duty is that there were only so many wars.
We need a new war!
We need a new world war.
Come on, Korea!
Donald Trump, we need inspiration.
You get to play as Donald Trump, like, trudging through the forest, like the jungle. His toupee just flies off.
So it's cool, but Call of Duty 4, I keep calling it Call of Duty 4. Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
COD Black Ops 4, yeah.
Coming out in October. We did kind of get a release date.
That's what's different about the game, too. Is that the game is releasing in October. And
it usually comes in November.
November, yeah.
Wonder why that is, because October is usually like a really big month for video games.
And like November, right? That's closer to Christmas, so it will still be fresh in people's minds when they're buying Christmas presents. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of games release in November.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting. And I think historically we've seen that video games don't really sell well when they release in November. I think Titanfall released in November. Far Cry 3 was the exception because it released in November and got like insanely good sales from that. But I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of interesting because October's so competitive. I think because Assassin's Creed might be taking another year off that they see an opening.
Yeah.
So that could be it.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. No Assassin's Creed again.
Because they're going every 2 years now. So it's like, we can like probably put the Call of Duty game in there.
I'm fine with that. I didn't play Origins, but I mean... You know, who knows? Maybe I'll get back into it.
So, along with that, the Division 2 was also announced. So, did you ever play the Division 2?
The Division 1?
The Division... No, I'll say the... Yeah, okay. Cut. So, after the Nintendo Direct and the Call of Duty announcement, we also got the announcement that the Division 2 would be coming out.
Yes.
So, have you ever played the Division?
I watched my friend Jesse play it maybe once or twice. Mm-hmm. It looked super cool.
It was super cool, actually. Yeah. Like I played it. I had a ton of fun playing it for the first half of the game.
Okay.
So like I found that the combat was very technical, and I really like that aspect about it.
Before you go, what is, like, again, this was years ago, but what is the Division? Like, explain it to me.
Yeah, so it's like a realistic Tom Clancy game in the third person. Something has happened to New York City. I think it was like a virus that killed a lot of people. And so what's happened since then is that like the government has fallen, anarchy is like all over the city.
Okay.
And you're part of the Division to kind of combat these villains and these criminals that are like taking part in the anarchy and robbing and killing and doing whatever. And so in the Division, it's kind of like Gears of War, where it's like cover-based combat and you're like shooting over covers and stuff. But yeah, it's like very tactical. You get a lot of like gear and weapons and like kind of like a lot of inventions you can use and stuff. Smoke grenades. There's like different types of characters you can use. Like somebody can be a healer, or somebody can be DPS and stuff, or a tank. And like the combat was really good. It was fun. It was tactical. I had a lot of fun playing with my friends. But I found that the more and more I played it, I got more of the same.
Yeah.
The missions were very repetitive. There didn't have a lot of enemy variety in the game. You kind of like weren't surprised by anything that came with it. So those are some things that I'm kind of hoping that the Division guys, Ubisoft, if you're listening, that they kind of like look at the Division and like, okay, we need to have something a little more exciting, a little more surprising. We need to have kind of like mission variety as well as enemy variety, so you know people can be excited for the next step of each game. So
again, like you said, like calling out Ubisoft is that a lot of game companies are under a lot of scrutiny now, especially with the whole like video games cause violence, loot boxes, microtransactions. Yeah. I feel like this is like a development period for developers to really change what people think of them. And this is, you know, Ubisoft isn't a bad company, but like it's on some people's like iffy list.
Yeah, just because like with the problems with Assassin's Creed, and they kind of like ship games out really, really fast to make as much money as possible. But they've taken a step in the right direction again with Assassin's Creed Origins. They're like, listen, we'll take a year off, we'll put some extra work into the game, and then it seemed like great sales. So
the Division, like the first Division, how you explained it sounds like a game I'd play, and like it sounds like fun. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do with the second one.
Yeah, I think that I'm glad that they're making a sequel for the Division, because it has the ability to be such a big franchise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that at the core, they have a really good game, and I think that they just have to focus more on storytelling and creativity in that aspect. Mm-hmm. Make it a little more like artsy, make us like feel a little bit more, because it almost even has like a Last of Us type feel.
Yeah. And
they could go that route. They could have more emotional storylines with the characters in the game, but it was just like very shallow. The first one was kind of very shallow. Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping they work on that.
I think what's happening in the game industry is that a lot of companies are doing more like story-based things. Like before it was like everyone was trying to do multiplayer. Now I think they're realizing that stories are still really important, which is I like. You know, I'm a story guy, so
it's funny. Like the biggest game companies are all storytellers. Like when you think of Bethesda, Rockstar, CD Projekt Red. Even like Overwatch. Like Overwatch is a multiplayer competitive game.
Yeah.
But each character has their own like characteristics. They have their own background. They have their own origin story.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that you can make a shallow game like a hero shooter, which doesn't have a campaign or anything, and yet still have so much story and so much character to it. I think that's where a lot of like big companies kind of like falter a little bit. They don't focus on the story. We even saw that like Bethesda kind of trailer where at the Video Game Awards where they were like they had that like PSA on like story-based games are dying, but like we're here for you, Bethesda or something like that. I don't know. It was kind of funny.
Here's a question: do you like games where you can make your own character or like have a set character?
Ooh, that's very good. It always depends.
Okay.
If it's like an RPG like The Witcher 3, I would like to... The Witcher 3 is like hard because you do play as a set character. Like Skyrim's perfect. I love a game like Skyrim where you can like customize your character, but I also love a game like Dishonored where you play as a specific person who has a specific storyline. And they both have like different kind of benefits to them. When you're playing as a set character, you're kind of experiencing their storyline. It's being given to you, but you kind of get to like control it in some ways. Whereas in an RPG, you create your own story. And so I think that they kind of have their benefits, but I think if I had to choose, I prefer making my own character.
Really? I'm a bit the other. Like I like The Witcher 3 a lot because like he plays Geralt. Like you get to choose like his dialogue and kind of if he wants to be an asshole or do the nice thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think three good examples are Skyrim, where like you create this character, you get to totally customize them, and then something like The Witcher, where it's a huge RPG. You get to play as Geralt, like he's him, and then I'm gonna mention this game series a lot, but Fire Emblem, where there's like a bit of character creation, but he is so much in the story, and he has no like personality. Like he's talking about Fire Emblem Awakening when you play as Robin. He's in the story so much, and like he has the most dialogue in the series, and like there's nothing to him. He's just a nice guy. Like that's it. Like so, I don't know.
One interesting thing is that The Division, speaking of The Division, is that they do have like character creation, but you don't go out and make your own story.
Yeah.
It's almost like they have like a set story for you, so it's kind of like that combination. And one thing in like The Division's credit, I thought that the customization was actually pretty good. I thought like the initial was kind of shallow, but like the more you get into it, the more gear you get. And you'd be fighting like hundreds of bad guys just to get like a new jacket or something. Which I actually like. I actually like that kind of stuff because like if you think it is this like city that doesn't have any sort of like backbone to it anymore, right? Like it's complete anarchy. So you could technically like go into somebody's like closet and be like, a new sweater, and put it on, right? And make your character try to look as cool as possible. So that's one thing that it definitely had going for it. So I hope the Division 2 kind of has that back into it. So speaking of RPGs, you just wrote an article on the Game Savvy website that was about playstyle and how your personality affects the characters that you choose in your RPG, and like specifically your weapons.
Yeah, so I've been playing games since I was 4, pretty much, since I could hold a controller. And I guess I just realized lately that like I like playing as like big like characters with like big old hammers or like war axes or stuff like that. And like I always play that kind of character. Like sure, I'll deviate a bit and like I'll play as like a Redguard wizard in like Skyrim or something. That makes no sense, but
because I do the same thing. When I was growing up, it was always I played as the archer because I always like confrontation kind of like didn't sit with me. And it's funny too. Even like the first boss fights, like Queen Goma or whatever from Ocarina of Time. The first time I ever fought her, I handed the controller off to my cousin. I was like, "This is stressing me out. Like it's too much." And so I think that's where that comes from. But I find that the older I get, the more I just want to hit people.
You're just more angry.
I'm just growing up, and so like recently in Skyrim I played as like a double axe orc, and I just go in like swinging and stuff.
I really thought about it because I started playing the new Monster Hunter World, and it was my first one, and I thought like Monster Hunter was just like you get like a big sword and like you just kill stuff. But I played it and there's like 14 different, probably 15, I can't remember, different weapon choice, and I'm like, a huge hammer. I'm like, okay, give me that. And like you go up to like a Tyrannosaurus Rex and you're just like smashing the out of him. I'm like, this feels good. I like this. I'm like, this is my thing. And then it made me think of like I've always, like I said, I always play as those kind of characters, but then my personality is always like I've always been a bigger guy. I've always played football, rugby, contact sports, and like I love smashing shit. So I'm like, I wonder if there's like a relation between that. So I went out and I asked some of my friends, some people on Twitter. I did a Twitter poll. Most people seem to think that like my personality does affect that. I usually do play as the same kind of character. I even got some really real answers. Some guys like, I like just using the best gear and the best weapons because, like, I'm the best. And, like, he even said, he's like, I have a big ego. I'm like, okay.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. Well, one thing about, like, video games and why people love it so much is that we're kind of, like, out of control and powerless in our real lives. And so when we get into a video game, we feel powerful, right? We can, like, fight people, we can take people on, we fight big monsters, and we feel like the heroes of our own story. And so it makes sense that, like, you would want to role play into yourself as a more powerful being. I kind of think that's where that comes from. So thinking back, and what's funny is like when I was playing Skyrim, I played Skyrim for like 5 years. How long has it been out? Like,
longer than that. Like almost 7, 6?
Is it 7 years?
Yeah, it came out when I was in the 9th grade.
So like I've been playing I played as one character for 5 years. Okay. And again, it was that like axe throwing guy or whatever. And then just recently I was like, you know what? I kind of want to be like an archer with a little bit of like magic to him and stuff. Like I just recently changed that play style. But it's funny, it's because like I played for so long, I was like, I want to change it up a little bit. And you know what's even funnier? Getting really onto this subject is that I had never slept in the game. I had never used a bed.
Yeah, me too!
And so just the other day, I slept in the game because I avoided the werewolf storyline, whatever. And I woke up and it was like the Dark Brotherhood. I was like, I've never seen this quest line.
Same with me actually. With the Dark Brotherhood, like I didn't even know that was a thing. And then my ex-girlfriend like mentioned it. I was like, there's this whole quest line I didn't even do. Like, and then I tried doing it. It was super fun.
Yeah.
But
it's just funny that like you've been playing for 7-8 years and
Yeah.
you're still discovering new things every day.
yeah, totally. That was kind of my experience with Stardew Valley as well. When I played it the second time, I'm like, man, there's so much like I didn't even do or realize.
I ruined Stardew Valley for myself, to be honest.
You looked everything up?
Like I was really into the game. I was
Don't
really
do
into the
that.
game and I was like bored and I'd just be like Googling stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I can craft that, make that, go find that there. Did everything in like 1 or 2 years. And then I was like, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
I still haven't unlocked a lot of things though. Like there's still a lot of mysteries in there and stuff.
Yeah.
So I still got a lot to do, but
I got Stardew Valley last year, and like I didn't have a job, I wasn't in school, and I saw Game Grumps play it on Steam Train, and I saw it instantly. I was like, I want this. I bought it right there, played it straight for like probably 4 or 5 days.
Dang.
And so good. Because I love Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
And like I was like, this is a better version of Harvest Moon.
And it's funny because like I was just so in the mood for it because
yeah.
I'd seen like kind of videos of it before. And like just the colors and the music and it's so relaxing. It's so relaxing and I'm like, I need this in my life because all I do is play violent video games. And so it's just nice to like go into a world where it's just like trees and weather and like forest and outdoors.
I usually play Harvest Moon like in the fall, like around October, November. Yeah. And like same with Stardew Valley, like the music, the atmosphere, it has a great atmosphere. That's the thing. Or like a changing atmosphere, like when it's like winter, it feels so different from fall in that game type deal. But yeah. So like I said about between like making your own character or something like Geralt from The Witcher, do you automatically like a character that is like your personality? Like do you, like I guess I could say I automatically like the big, like, brawny, like, big weapon guy. Like, something like E Honda in Street Fighter, like the big sumo dude. I'm like, I'm playing him.
I tend to gravitate towards the guys who seem like invincible.
Okay.
And ladies as well. Like, the characters that seem like invincible. Like, for example, like Geralt, at no time did I ever think he was going to die in The Witcher 3.
Yeah. And
Master Chief, at no point do I ever think he's going to, like, go. Mm-hmm. And so it's those kind of, like, super powerful kind of characters that like Superman's my favorite DC character.
Really?
Yeah.
He's shitting on my man Batman, man.
We're not going to get into this, but he's way more complicated than any other heroes. So, but yeah, so, I don't know. I gravitate towards like those kind of characters.
Man, Batman's not my favorite DC. No, but Steve's better than Superman. Come on.
Who's your favorite DC?
Oh, probably Shazam.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit different. I like Shazam.
That's an interesting pick.
But like the thing is that I will like characters who I think are better than like my typical like big guys, like something like Final Fantasy 13. Like my favorite character is Saz because he's like super funny and lighthearted. And then there's someone like Snow who's like big and he fights with his hands. Like you think I like that, but like I like Saz more as a character and he has better character development. So like I gravitate more towards that. So
yeah, that
maybe sense. There's always an exception for everything. So I think that's interesting to think about as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people watching who are thinking probably like, all right, that my play style, like, does my personality kind of like reflect my play style a little bit? And if you are thinking that, comment below because we would love to hear about it.
Also, like and subscribe.
Yeah. But you also just came back from a trip. You went to Toronto to experience EGLX.
Yeah, it's Canada's largest video game convention.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I found it. I didn't even know about it till like a week before because one of my favorite YouTubers mentioned he was going. And, like, I looked it up, and I'm like, yo, like, it's a 7-hour bus ride, but I'm going. And I go to Toronto for Fan Expo as well. And then, I expected kind of the same thing. It was smaller. It was a lot smaller than Fan Expo. But, like, everything was video games. It was all about video games, so awesome. I loved that.
What were some of the video games that you played and were kind of like, wow, this is dope?
Oh, God, I played a bunch of, like, indie games that, like, I do not know the name to, but, like, I got their card and we'll probably talk to them and do something. But
that's awesome.
I played this like tactical game that was kind of like Fire Emblem in a way. I played this like football game that you played as like mutants and you could like kill each other. So it's like a death match of NFL. Dang. Yeah, I played this really like basic arena match game where you just use like arrows to kill each other. It was so basic but so fun. But yeah, I didn't play as many games as I'd like to because I watched some of the tournaments. I bought some art, like stuff like that.
How were the tournaments like, and what tournaments did you go see?
So there was a huge Hearthstone tournament that I didn't watch.
Hearthstone, interesting.
Yeah. And then there was a Melee and a Smash 4 tournament.
I would love to have watched that.
It was so, like, I was just sitting there, I was like, I was just chilling. I love Smash Bros. Obviously not as much as some of the people in the crowd, because, like, I was sitting there and people are losing their minds.
That's amazing.
Because, like, the people playing are so good.
Yeah.
And I watched the doubles tournament where, like, it was 2v2. And, like, just how, like, good these players are at, like, reading their teammate to, like, match up attacks is so crazy.
That's amazing.
Like, literally, so say, like, two people are fighting, and then the other two are fighting, and the one guy grabs his opponent and, like, throws him backwards. The other guy will, like, jump and hit him, and, like, go right back into fighting his guy, and it's like, that's so crazy that, like, they're such good teammates that they can do that. Like, I love it. I loved watching it. Something I realized is that there's not a lot of, like, character differentiation. Like, usually, I'd say the same 10 characters were played. Like, my main is Ike, and, like, nobody used Ike. Like, nobody used, like...
That's where you discovered, like, I've been doing something wrong all
Yeah,
these years.
I was like, I'm using the wrong characters.
Yeah.
Everyone used, like, Bayonetta and Sonic and Diddy Kong and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was so fun to be there in that social setting and have that atmosphere.
What character ended up winning?
I didn't stay long enough to watch.
Okay.
They did, think, like, the half of the first round of doubles. I was only there for a day because, like, of time restrictions, and, it's, I knew it wasn't going to be as big as Fan Expo, so I didn't want to be bored.
Mm-hmm.
I should have stayed, though. I would have loved to stay just for the tournament. But, it was a great time. My only complaint is that I wish there was more, like, actual people selling video games.
Yeah.
There was only one vendor, and, like, I walked up to him and I was like, nah, these are just, like, basic games, like, no big deal. But then at something like Fan Expo, I got my copy of Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, which is, like, impossible to find.
Wow, that's awesome.
And, like, I wish there was more people like that at EGLX.
You would think there'd be more.
I know, it didn't make sense.
Like that one guy's got a monopoly on, like, all these gamers coming in, and he could just, like, sell all the games.
Yeah, but I definitely took a trip down Artist Alley, bought some super cool artwork.
Did you happen to play the Blobs fight? There's, like, this Blobs game. It's by Skypire.
I think I saw it.
Yeah. If you guys haven't checked them out, Skypire is the studio that we actually did an interview with on the website. They came out with a game called Halen, which is this, like, third-person kind of, like, Tomb Raider meets Halo. It's kind of like a really cool game.
Okay.
They're coming out with a new game called the Blobs Fight, where I think it's like a multiplayer game. You play as these, like, little blob characters. You can customize them, and you just, like, fight against your friends and stuff. Looked like a really interesting game. They were at EGLX, and I was wondering if you, like, went to go, like, check that out.
I don't know. Like I said, I played quite a bit, and, like, I looked around a lot, but some of the stuff I can't even remember the name of that I played.
There was also another game, which I think just got featured on Giant Bomb. Okay. Was King of the Hat.
Oh, I do remember seeing that. Yeah.
So I did an interview with them as well, Hieroglyphic Games out in Montreal. And when I went to CGX here in Ottawa, their game was, like, my favorite that I played. Yeah. Like, it was funny because, like, I looked at it and I wasn't, like, too interested in it for some reason. But my brother came by and my brother's friend was there and they started playing it. They're like, dude, you have to come over and play this game. And the whole time I was playing, I had this, like, giant smile on my face. Yeah. I was just like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. And Giant Bomb, I think it was Giant Bomb. It might have been Rock, Paper, Scissors, Shotgun. One of those websites just featured Hieroglyphic on their website and just said, hey, King of the Hat was the best game there, which was kind of awesome. So you got to play it?
I think I watched people play because they were busy. Like, they had a lot of people at their booth. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get a chance, but
I think I have the game, actually, because I'm a backer for the Kickstarter. So
I
have a copy of the game.
A lot of people I talked to, I was like, I work at Game Savvy. And they're like, yo, I follow you on Twitter. I was like, hey, really? Yeah. Like, actually a few people.
A little self-promotion.
Yeah. All right. Because, like, I was like, yo, like, here, take my information. And they're like, yo, I already follow you. I'm like, oh, cool.
That's awesome. Wow, dang. Yeah. Little recognition at EGLX 2018. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back next year. It was super fun.
Yeah, I'll have to go too because it does sound like a really good time. Yeah. A lot of great games. Honestly, when I'm amongst gamers and they're all, like, passionate and, like, super cool, you know, it's always a good time. Mm-hmm. The CGX Ottawa is just coming up too. Jillian Mood. CGX. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's, like, May.
Okay.
Because I think that's what it was last year.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that, it's going to be out in May. So CGX is the Capital Gaming Expo. It's coming to Ottawa, and that's going to feature indie developers like the Meatly Games. We're going to have, I think they're going to have Bendy and the Ink Machine is going to be there, which is a really big game. We'll probably go to that. And if anybody is watching this and going to CGX or thinking about going to CGX, we're going to be there. So come say hi.
Yeah, totally.
And so, I don't know, that should be a lot of fun. And again, it's like gamers. And was there a lot of cosplay at EGLX?
No,
none?
Maybe like 3 people I saw.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people. I went on the Friday, so that's the first day. Obviously, a lot of people go more on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. But there was maybe 3 people I saw. Last year when I went to Fan Expo, I even cosplayed, and so many people cosplaying at Fan Expo, but nothing at EGLX. I was pretty surprised.
CGX had limited cosplay, but I would say more than 3 people. I have a picture on my Instagram of I think one person was Goku, another was Vegeta, and the other was Bulma. And they had Dragon Balls, and they posed for me for a couple of pictures, which was awesome. Yeah, I would love to see more cosplay of these kind of things because I find it so interesting when people can put together a really nice cosplay. How do you have that talent? How do you that's amazing.
Some stuff is simple. Have you ever cosplayed
No.
At Fan Expo I cosplayed as Matt Murdock from the Daredevil Netflix series. Not as him in the actual Daredevil costume, but I just got a suit. I got the glasses
I remember that. I saw that on your Facebook.
$70. I got the walking cane, and that was it. And I looked pretty decent. So some stuff is simple. Some stuff they do a cosplay masquerade where people show it off. Some guy dressed up as the Big Daddy from BioShock.
Wow.
Literally whole metal thing. He was probably 7 feet tall.
Wow. And
he couldn't even walk on stage because the thing was so heavy and he couldn't walk up the stairs. That is crazy. People make their living off cosplaying. It's nuts.
I went to Comic-Con here in Ottawa, and there was a guy who was 7 foot something as Groot, and it was the most detailed costume I've ever seen in my entire life. It was awesome.
That'd be sweet.
So I think that about wraps things up. We talked about Nintendo Direct and Super Smash Brothers and all the big announcements that came out there. We talked about Black Ops 4, The Division 2, your trip to EGLX.
Mm-hmm.
There was a ton of gaming news happening this week.
Yeah.
So what are you working on currently, and how can people find you?
I am working on my Paper Mario article about how Paper Mario should go back to its RPG roots.
Oh, cool.
I think I'm going to write an article about EGLX, maybe, depends. I'm collabing on the Video Game and Violence.
Video Game and Violence is where we're collabing on that. So how can people find you? On Twitter?
On Twitter, they can do Sterling Gill, so my first and part of my last name. That's my Twitter handle. That's it. I just said Twitter. I don't know, I'm probably not going to add you on Facebook, but I mean...
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at TylerMV_ because somebody took TylerMV and I'm really pissed about it, but TylerMV_. And I'm working on Are Esports Players Athletes? Our video games have a whole article coming out about that. And again, collabing on the violence in video games. So stay tuned for that. And again, guys, if you liked what you saw, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Comment below about anything you saw in this video. We would absolutely appreciate it.
We'll talk to you. That's our thing. Well, we'd love to talk.
We love talking to passionate gamers. So if you're a passionate gamer, absolutely reach out to us on Twitter and in the comments below. Mm-hmm. So until next time, keep it savvy, guys.
Yeah. Cut that out.
All right.